Well, hello everyone. This is Analyzing ETFs. I'm your host, Dr. B. Here is a couple of pictures from my vacation that I took earlier this month in August. This is way out in the Pacific Northwest. That's Storrs Well on the left and Port Orford, Oregon. Beautiful country out in the Pacific Northwest. Me and my travel partner went out, met in Portland, Oregon, had a great time driving down Highway 101, going down the coast about 940 miles to San Francisco. Beautiful country out there, and I'm sure we'll do it again. But we're not here to talk about the Pacific Northwest. We're here to talk about ETFs. And my shares, the VanEck Ethereum ETF, have all been sold. So if you take a look at this little report we have here, the total proceeds were $4,870, where the total cost basis was $3,079. Now, I wouldn't worry too much about the average gain, although it was up 68%, and the average loss was 7.27%. What happened when I bought this ETF originally, I believe back in 2024, it might have been actually in January 2025, the price went down, and that's why you see an average loss, but it's only 7.27%. Now, none of this came out of my Roth IRA. This is from a beneficial individual account, where you see I have a profit of $1,791. They have long-term gains of $485 and short-term gains of $305 or $3,000, about $1,306. What happens is you're not taxed on this until it's sold. More on that later. But if you can see here, these are the dates that they were sold. Primary from July 18th through August the 11th. When I got back from my vacation, I decided, you know what? It's at the price I'm happy with. It sold $63 a share. And you can see in that day, well, the proceeds were about $3,150. Altogether, I had 82 shares, proceeds and cost base. That's what's written here. Now, did I make a profit? Yes, I made a profit. Well, how much profit did I make? And was there a financial mistake by selling my shares of ETHV? And the answer, I don't think there was. So yes, you can see, calculate simple mathematics. I made a profit of $1,791. Well, to me, that comes to a 58% profit. If you take your profit, divide by your cost, times 100, that comes to 58%. I do notice, as being a teacher for many years, when students get to 11th and 12th grade, they forget how to do percent increase and percent decrease. But I'm satisfied with the 58% profit because I had to take the proceeds and instead I bought an air conditioner for my garage. Hey, I live in Florida. We deal with humidity many months out of the year, especially from March all through October, even parts of November. It gets very hot here, and I have vehicles in my garage, cars and bicycles, and you know what? They got to be protected. So it was important for me to buy an AC split garage, and that's what I'm doing with the proceeds. Now, did I sell too soon? Of course I did. I've always said this. You'll never buy at the lowest, and you'll never sell at the highest. It's not going to happen, and don't think it's going to happen with you. However, if I would have invested money, all my shares in the beginning, going back to July of 2024, when this ETF opened up, you can see that the price went from in the 50s down into the 30s. I would say around $37 a share. And then went back up in November to about $52 a share in November 2024. And then it went back down again. And went down a lot in January through February through March. I mentioned that's when you should buy. And guess what? That's why I bought more shares. Otherwise, we're looking at only a 48%. I should say only 48%. A 48% is a darn good profit. A 48% profit. So if you would have bought all your shares in the beginning and sold them when it was $70.86, yeah, $70.86. I sold mine with a smiley face here is about $63 a share. So yeah, I didn't sell at the highest, but I'm happy with a 58% profit instead of a 48% profit if I would have bought them all in the beginning. But no, you don't buy all your shares in the beginning. You buy what you can, and you dollar cost average, because over time the market will go down. And I'm satisfied with 58% profit, and I can live with myself. Will I buy Ethereum again? I doubt it. I'm just going to hold on to my Bitcoin. And speaking of holding on to Bitcoin, here it is. Hold on for dear life. As far as taxes, you have to illustrate long-term and short-term gains by selling shares of ETFs. If you look here, I don't have any long-term gains yet because I haven't sold anything. But am I doing well? Yes, I am doing well. It's up 90% overall. So what this means is I bought an average of HODL when it was $17.35. Now, ironically, it was actually much more than that, but it's split 4-to-1. So, for example, if I had 50 shares and split 4-to-1, that means I now have 200 shares. But in reality, I own 224 shares. So the symbol is HODL. It's called the Van Eck Bitcoin ETF. The cost is $17.35 per share, but the gain is a whopping $15.66. So if you take the gain, divide by what you paid for it, well, I paid for it, that comes with a 90.23% gain. Now, one time it was over a $100 gain. When did that happen? That's when Bitcoin was about $122,000, $124,000 per Bitcoin. But I don't need to own Bitcoin. So I'm up about $3,500. I'm not going to sell this for a long time, so hopefully Bitcoin will do well. So for those who are into Bitcoin and care about all that stuff and blockchain technology, I don't get too much into that. When I was out in Portland, Oregon, I was in the same room as Ken Jennings. And afterwards, and if you know who Ken Jennings is, you better look that up. I'm not going to explain Ken Jennings to you. But on August 23rd, 2025, the price of HODL is $33.01. So if you add the cost per gain, it comes to $33.01. I bought 2 books, one on Bitcoin and one on AI. And I'm trying to read the one on Bitcoin. I don't understand a lot of it at all. I'll try to read it as much as I can. And then I'll read the book on AI. Other people know stuff a lot better, and they're making a lot more money than I am, but I'm satisfied with the gains. And hopefully you're satisfied with your gains. Speaking of gains, here we are. This ETF began on January 11th, 2024. I was told not to buy it from my financial advisor, so I didn't. So I waited, and I started buying it and buying it and buying it, and I have a 90% gain. But if you see here, if you bought $10,000 worth when it opened up on January 11th, your $10,000 today will be worth an incredible amount, $26,408. That's 164% profit. If you want to know how to figure out the percentage and you can't do it, then guess what? Send me an information. Send me a comment on this. Make a comment for once. I get more videos if I'm at Hooters or if I'm working out. I've only been at Hooters twice in my life. And just between you and me, the food is average there. That's all. All right. Thank you very much for watching my channel. Hopefully we'll gain an audience here, and I'll be back in a couple weeks with more knowledge and more talk about ETFs. Take care. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Bye-bye.